Time now for the Wells Report front page. News while we were asleep. It starts with the UAW walking off the job at 3 automotive plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Missouri. This from USA Today. The United Auto Workers launched a historic strike last night by targeting all 3 Detroit automakers at once after contract negotiations failed to land a new deal. UAW members at 3 assembly plants in Michigan, Ohio, Missouri went on strike after their labor contracts expired at 11:59 p.m. The strike, which the union calls the stand-up strike, targets specific plants of Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Stellantis, which makes Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Fiat brands. Union leaders have said that they will select new target plants to take out on strike in various waves if the negotiations continue to fail to land new agreements with auto companies. The strategy is designed to keep the automakers off guard and leverage the union's position to secure a better contract with the offers the Detroit automakers have made so far. Elsewhere in the news, USA Today reports Hunter Biden, the son of President Biden, was indicted yesterday on federal gun charges. This less than 2 months after a plea agreement fell apart over tax and gun charges. The indictment charges Hunter Biden with knowingly deceiving a firearms dealer when buying a Colt Cobra .38 special revolver on October 12, 2018. He's charged with falsely filing a federal firearms form denying that he was addicted to any narcotics, and he is charged with knowingly possessing the revolver despite the restrictions against drug addicts owning firearms. Hunter Biden has acknowledged he was a drug addict at the time. The charges revive the prospect that Hunter Biden could be jailed if convicted and rekindle his role as a lightning rod for political criticism if his father runs for re-election in 2024. He faces a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison if he is convicted. The Miami Herald this morning is reporting that a growing number of people on the U.S. terror watch list have been encountered at U.S. borders in 2023. This according to the Department of Homeland Security. Their officials noted yesterday in an annual report that a record number of migrants had complicated border and immigration security in this past year. Approximately 160 non-U.S. citizens on the terror watch list attempted to cross into the U.S. in 2023, most of whom were encountered attempting to illegally enter between the ports of entry, the Department of Homeland Security said in its annual Homeland Threat Assessment. This was an increase from 2022, when border officials encountered roughly 100 individuals on the watch list attempting to enter the country. The report reads, terrorists and criminal actors may exploit the elevated flow and increasingly complex security environment to enter the United States across the southern border. International news this morning, the city of Derna, Libya, has been flooded. It's been laid waste. 11,300 are dead, this report from the Associated Press. The death toll in Libya's coastal city of Derna the death toll in Libya's coastal city of Derna rose to 100. Let me try this one more time. The death toll in Libya's coastal city of Derna has soared to 11,300 as search efforts continue to follow a massive flood fed by breaching of 2 dams in heavy rains. This according to the Libyan Red Crescent. That happened yesterday. The flooding was caused by a named storm, Daniel, unusually strong for the Mediterranean Sea. Caused deadly flooding in communities across eastern Libya, but the worst hit was indeed Derna. As the storm pounded the coast Sunday night, residents said they heard loud explosions when 2 dams outside the city collapsed. Floodwaters gushed down the Wadi Derna, a valley that cuts through the city, crashing through buildings and washing people, including entire families, out to sea. Marie El Dresse, the aid group's Secretary General, told the Associated Press by phone that a further 10,100 people are reported missing in the Mediterranean city. Health authorities previously put the death toll in Derna at 5,500. The storm also killed about 170 people elsewhere in the country. News of the states today. Texas, Fox News is reporting that Texas Governor Greg Abbott is touting a new border wall construction project at the state's border with Mexico as his administration battles the Biden administration over barrier construction and a reported policy to keep migrants in the state. Texas is adding more border wall today, he said on X. This is in the Del Rio sector. Abbott announced in 2021 funding for a state project to continue construction of the wall after the Biden administration abruptly ended the Trump-era construction project that saw over 450 miles of new wall built. The Biden administration, has also said the wall was ineffective and expensive, but conservatives have charged the border as a key facet of a strong border security strategy, the border fence, that is, to stop illegal immigration and have renewed calls for construction to be restarted amid the ongoing border crisis. The border wall, started by Texas, is part of Operation Lone Star, which has seen resources and law enforcement surge to the border in order to respond to the crisis. Out of Kentucky, USA Today reports a former Kentucky county clerk must now pay $100,000 to a gay couple she denied a marriage license to. This according to a federal jury. Kim Davis, formerly the Rowan County clerk, attracted international attention when she refused to issue the license after the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage in 2015. It landed her in jail on a contempt of court charge for 5 days. Following jury deliberations, Davis was ordered to pay $50,000 each to David Arnold and David Moore, according to Davis's lawyers. My clients could not be happier, said Michael Gartland of the Delgado Law Group, who represented the couple, according to USA Today. Political news this morning. A spokesperson for the Democrat minority of the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability told Fox News that a man out there who is essentially a bookkeeper for the Biden family and a business partner of Hunter Biden, a man named Schwerin. He was the former president of Hunter Biden's Rosemont Seneca Advisors and a frequent visitor to the Obama-Biden White House, served as then Vice President Biden's bookkeeper from 2009 to 2017. In other words, a business associate of Hunter was the bookkeeper for Vice President Joe Biden. The statement came after Fox News Digital inquired about a section of the White House's lengthy memo that was issued to the media that told the media how to cover the impeachment story. It scrambles to respond to House Republicans' impeachment inquiry into President Biden. The White House issued a memo that urged state news outlets to ramp up security of the impeachment inquiry. That was announced Tuesday by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. That memo included a 14-page fact check of Republican claims made throughout the Biden investigation with regards to the president's purported role in his son's foreign business dealings and whether the Biden family used the former vice president's public office for personal profit. Republicans, this from the report, the actual memo sent from the White House to the media, quote, Republicans' own witnesses, such as Eric Schwerin, a former business associate of Hunter Biden, said President Biden was not involved in their business dealings. This according to the White House on page 13 of their media memo. Quote, in a March 2023 interview with Republican and Democrat committee staff, Mr. Schwerin testified to committee staff that he was not aware of any involvement by President Biden in the financial conduct of the president's relatives' business, much less any transactions into or out of then Vice President's bank account related to business conducted by any Biden family member, this according to the White House. However, a person familiar with Schwerin's role in handling then Vice President Biden's finances told Fox News that Schwerin actually had worked on President Biden's personal budget and helped coordinate with his tax preparers when he was Vice President of the United States. The individual also pointed to the frequency of Schwerin's communications with Biden and his top aides, said it was inevitable that Rosemont Seneca business came up in conversations. Peter Schweitzer, the president of the Government Accountability Institute and an expert on Hunter Biden's business dealings, told Sunday Morning Futures on Fox Business News with Maria Bartiromo last month that Eric Schwerin was the money guy in Hunter Biden's business ventures. Media, CNN, is accused of providing spin for the White House. It's backtracking on their fact-checking. CNN raised eyebrows earlier this week for the mixed messaging found in its fact check of comments House Speaker Kevin McCarthy of California made about the newly launched Biden impeachment inquiry. The report began by telling readers McCarthy made several unproven claims Tuesday while announcing the opening of a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. However, then CNN either verified the claims that were stated as true or attempted to rebut the speaker with pushback that did not actually address what the speaker had been saying. The first remark was fact-checked with McCarthy saying, quote, bank records show that nearly $20 million in payments were directed to the Biden family members and associates through various shell companies, unquote. Then, the fact-check portion of the report, CNN said, quote, this is true about Joe Biden's family and associates, but there is no public evidence to date that the president personally received any of that money, unquote. And that statement added an irrelevant context to McCarthy's quote. Dishonest journalism. That's all that is. Fox News survey finds neither President Biden nor Donald Trump has the mental acuity to be president. Corrupt and lacking mental soundness to serve effectively as president. That's what voters think of the two candidates who currently look most likely to be their 2024 presidential election choices. A majority of 61% say Joe Biden doesn't have the mental soundness needed for the job he holds. That sentiment has risen steadily over the past 3 years. It's up 5 points since last year, up 13 points compared to 2021, up 16 points compared to 2020. The latest Fox News national survey also finds that while 46% think Donald Trump has the cognitive capability necessary to be president, over half, 52%, do not believe so. When asked if the word corrupt describes each candidate, 56% say it applies to Trump compared to 48% for Biden. The share believing Biden is corrupt is up 7 points since the week before the 2020 election, while Trump's number has held steady at 56%. Support for President Biden is down among several key constituencies compared to the fall of 2020, including suburban women down 12 points, women in general down 11 points, black voters down 10 points, voters under age 45 down 7, and Hispanic voters down 5. All that support moved to Trump's column. Compared to October of 2020, his standing has improved among suburban women, up 13 points, women in general up 10%, blacks up 7 points, Hispanic up 7 points, and those under 45 up 6 points. Independents prefer Trump over Biden by 10 points. In October of 2020, they favored Biden by 20 points. It's polling. What do you do except read it and consider it? That's the front page. Thanks for joining us here on the Wells Report.